Ambassador Jack Morrison stood in the center of the vast Galactic Council chamber. His voice was steady but firm. After 300 years of service, humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council, effective immediately. The chamber fell silent. The Zephyrian delegates' 6 eyes blinked in sequence. The crystalline form of the Vortanian representative flickered with colors that showed amusement. Neither species seemed concerned. They had never truly valued humanity's presence. "This is unexpected," said Supreme Counselor Zephyr, his blue scales rippling. "But if the humans wish to leave, we will not stop them. The Council has functioned for millennia. We will continue without you." Jack felt the weight of the moment. For 3 centuries, humans had served the Council faithfully. They had maintained peace between warring species. They had built and repaired the technology that connected the galaxy. They had treated the sick and fed the hungry on 1,000 worlds. Yet the Council still denied them voting rights. They took human help but gave nothing in return. "Our decision is final," Jack said. He turned and walked out of the chamber. No one tried to stop him. On the human battlecruiser horizon, Captain Lisa Chen watched the Council station grow smaller through the viewport. Her crew of 5,000 represented the last human presence in Council space. Behind them, dozens of human ships were already jumping to hyperspace, heading home. "All departments report ready for departure," her first officer, Commander Pete Santos, announced. Lisa nodded. "Take us home." The horizon's massive engines hummed to life. In a flash of light, the ship entered hyperspace. Lisa wondered if they had made the right choice. 50 human colonies would now stand alone in the galaxy. No more Council protection. No more shared resources. No more being treated as servants. The first problems began within hours of humanity's departure. On the trading station Epsilon 9, the automated systems started failing. The station's draconian supervisor, Karg, pounded his scaled fist on the control panel. "Why are the docking systems offline?" His assistant checked the maintenance logs. The human technician, Bob Martinez, left yesterday. He was scheduled to perform routine updates today. "Then do the updates yourself," Karg snapped. I don't know how. The humans always handled this." Similar scenes played out across Council space. On the agricultural world of Verdant, the irrigation systems stopped working. The Altarian farmers discovered that human engineers had been manually adjusting the systems daily to compensate for their poor original design. On the border between Zephyrian and Draconian space, 2 patrol ships nearly opened fire on each other. For 50 years, human mediators had been stationed there to prevent such incidents. Now there was no one to calm tensions. In the Council's capital city, the quantum communication network began to fail. Messages between star systems arrived late or not at all. The network administrator, a 6-armed hexapod named Grex, frantically tried to fix the problems. "I need the human specialist, Amy Chen," Grex told his superior. "She left yesterday with the others. But she designed these systems. She knows how they work." "Then you should have learned from her while she was here." By the end of the first week, cracks were showing throughout Council space. Supply ships arrived at the wrong destinations. Medical emergencies went untreated. Minor conflicts escalated into serious disputes. Supreme Counselor Zephyr called an emergency meeting of his advisors. "These are temporary setbacks," he insisted. "We will adapt." The humans were useful, but not essential. His military advisor disagreed. "Counselor, the humans maintained peace in 12 border regions. They operated 40% of our cargo ships. They managed most of our hospitals. Their absence is noticeable." "Then we will learn to do these things ourselves," Zephyr replied. But doubt crept into his voice. On Earth, President Maria Rodriguez watched the reports from Council space. Part of her wanted to help. Humans had friends among the alien races, but the Council needed to learn a lesson. They made their choice, she told her cabinet. Now they must live with it. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. 6 months had passed since humanity left the Galactic Council. The problems that started small had grown into major crises. Ambassador Crix of the Draconian Empire slammed his clawed hand on the meeting table. Across from him sat the Vortanian mining director, her crystalline body pulsing with angry red light. They were arguing over mining rights on Kepler-7, a dispute that had simmered for years. "The northern territories belong to us," Crix shouted. "Your claims are baseless." The Vortanian shot back. In the past, human arbitrators would have calmed both sides. They would have found a compromise that satisfied everyone. But there were no humans here now. The argument escalated. Within hours, Draconian warships appeared over Kepler-7. The Vortanians responded with their own fleet. The first shots were fired before sunset. On the Council's capital world, Chief Engineer Vaktar stared at the power grid displays. Red warning lights flashed across every screen. The city's fusion reactors were failing one by one. "Why is this happening?" demanded Councillor Zephyr. Vaktar's tentacles writhed nervously. "The control systems are too complex. The human engineer, Paul Rodriguez, designed them. He left documentation. But what? We can't understand it. He used to make small adjustments every day. We don't know what he was adjusting or why." The lights in the council chamber flickered. In the streets below, millions of citizens experienced their first blackout in living memory. The medical crisis hit hardest of all. On the planet Altair Prime, Dr. Kesh watched helplessly as patients filled her hospital. A new disease was spreading through the population. It started as a simple cough, but quickly turned deadly. "Have you identified the pathogen?" asked the planetary governor. "Yes, but I don't know how to treat it," Dr. Kesh admitted. "This disease affects multiple organs. In humans, it would be simple to cure. But Altarian biology is different." Dr. Amy Watson used to lead our interspecies medical division. She understood how treatments worked across different species. "Can't you contact her?" "The humans have closed their borders. They're not responding to any communications." Within weeks, the death toll reached thousands. Other species watched in horror, realizing they could be next. On Earth, Commander Alex Turner monitored the situation from the Global Defense Center. His screen showed chaos spreading across Council space. Pirates raided merchant ships. Border conflicts erupted daily. Trade routes collapsed. "Should we help them?" his aide asked. Alex shook his head. "The president's orders are clear. They'd wanted us gone. They got their wish." But it wasn't easy to watch. Many humans had friends among the alien races. They received desperate messages asking for help, for guidance, for hope. The Galactic Stock Exchange crashed as trade between systems ground to a halt. Human logistics coordinators had managed the complex network of shipping routes. Without them, cargo ships wandered aimlessly. Food rotted in warehouses while colony worlds went hungry. On the luxury world of Paradise Station, the sewage treatment plant failed. The station's wealthy residents, who had never given a thought to human maintenance workers, found themselves living with the consequences. The pristine beaches turned toxic. The exclusive resorts emptied. "This is temporary," Supreme Councillor Zephyr insisted during a broadcast to all Council worlds. "We are adapting. We don't need human assistance." But his own advisors disagreed. In private meetings, they painted a grim picture. "Councillor, we've lost control of 3 border regions. Pirate attacks have increased by 800%. The medical crisis is spreading to other worlds. Food shortages are reported on 12 colonies. What do you suggest?" Zephyr asked. Perhaps we should reach out to the humans." "Never." Zephyr's scales turned dark blue with anger. "We are the Galactic Council. We have ruled for 10,000 years. We will not beg a young species for help." His pride would cost them dearly. As each day passed, the situation grew worse. The galaxy was learning a painful lesson. Humans had been more than servants or helpers. They had been the glue that held civilization together. On Earth, children played in parks and families gathered for meals, unaware of the chaos beyond their borders. Humanity was thriving in isolation. But soon, They would face a choice: watch the galaxy burn, or return to save those who had cast them aside. 1 year had passed. The Galactic Council chamber looked different now. Empty seats marked where several species had withdrawn their ambassadors. The remaining delegates sat far apart, trust broken between former allies. Supreme Counselor Zephyr stood before them, his blue scales dull with exhaustion. "The situation is under control," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. Ambassador Vega of the Andromedan Collective stood up. "Under control. 3 of my colony worlds are starving. Our children cry for food, while cargo ships drift empty in space. The Draconians and Vortanians are still fighting over Kepler-7, added the Altarian representative. 12,000 have died in a war that could have been prevented." Zephyr raised his clawed hand. "We don't need humans to solve our problems. We existed before they joined us. We can exist without them." "Can we?" Vega challenged. "Show me the numbers." The holographic displays activated. The data was damning. Trade volume had dropped 60%. Pirate attacks were up by 900%. 30 colonies faced food shortages. The medical plague had spread to 5 worlds. On the edge of Council space, pirates ruled entire systems. Captain Zack of the Black Nebula Fleet laughed as he counted his latest prize. "The humans kept order here for decades. Now it's our territory." His crew cheered. They had raided 3 merchant convoys this week alone. No patrol ships came to stop them. The Council fleet was busy trying to keep peace between warring members. "Captain," his first mate called. Unknown ship approaching. On the screen appeared a human destroyer, the UES Phoenix. Captain Jake Morrison, Jack's son, hailed the pirate ship. "This is Captain Morrison. Release those prisoners and surrender." Zack sneered. "Humans have no authority here anymore. This is Council space." Jake's face remained calm. "Those are civilians from 3 different species. Let them go. Or what? You'll attack us in Council territory. Start a war." Jake was quiet for a moment. Then he gave the order. "Fire warning shots." The Phoenix's weapons lit up space around the pirate ship. The shots missed on purpose, but the message was clear. "You wouldn't dare," Zack growled. "Try me," Jake replied. "Humanity protects the innocent. Always have, always will." The pirates released their prisoners and fled. News of the incident spread quickly. Humans were still helping, even after being cast out. On Paradise Station, now abandoned by tourists, maintenance robots tried to fix the broken systems. They weren't programmed for complex repairs. The station's governor watched his paradise crumble. "I've sent 30 messages to Earth," he told his aide. "They won't respond." "Why would they? We voted to deny them council membership. We said they were expendable." The medical crisis worsened. On Altair Prime, Dr. Kesh had lost half her staff to the plague. She worked 20-hour days trying to save patients. The death toll reached 50,000 today, her assistant reported. Kesh closed her eyes. One human doctor could have found a cure by now. They understood biology across species like no one else. In Earth's capital, President Rodriguez met with her cabinet. The reports from Council space grew worse daily. "Madam President," said Defense Secretary Chen, "we're receiving distress calls from civilian ships. Pirates are attacking refugees. Children are dying from preventable diseases." Rodriguez looked tired. The Council made their choice, but the civilians didn't. They're suffering for their leader's pride. She was quiet for a long moment. "What do you suggest?" "Limited intervention. Humanitarian aid only. Show them we're better than they are." The room divided. Some supported helping. Others wanted the Council to suffer longer. "They need to ask," Rodriguez decided. "Officially. The Council must admit they need us." Meanwhile, secret meetings were happening on Council worlds. Mid-level officials, the ones who had worked with humans, gathered quietly. "Zephyr's pride is killing us," whispered a Zephyrian administrator. "We need humans back," agreed a Draconian engineer. "But how do we convince our leaders?" They began planning. Soon, Counselor Zephyr would face a choice: his pride or his people's survival. The revolution began on Zephyr's homeworld. Citizens gathered in the streets of the capital, their scales glowing with anger. For the first time in Zephyrian history, the people challenged their supreme counselor. Zephyr must go, they chanted. Bring back the humans. Inside the government building, Counselor Zephyr watched the crowds grow. His advisors stood nervously around him. "This is your doing," he accused them. "You've turned my people against me." "No, Counselor," said his chief advisor. "Your pride did this. The people are starving. They're dying. They want the humans back." The protests spread to other worlds. On Draconia, factory workers refused to work. On Vortania, miners put down their tools. The message was the same everywhere: bring back the humans or step down. Ambassador Vega called an emergency session of what remained of the Galactic Council. Only 15 of the original 30 species sent representatives. The others were dealing with internal chaos. "The evidence is clear," Vega announced, her synthetic voice echoing in the half-empty chamber. "Trade has dropped 70%. 8 colonies have declared independence. The medical plague has killed 200,000 beings." She activated a hologram showing Admiral Susan Baker's human fleet. They were rescuing refugees from a collapsed colony, providing food and medical aid. "The humans help us even now," Vega continued. "They show mercy to those who cast them out. What have we shown them? Arrogance, dismissal, contempt." "They were servants," Zephyr protested weakly. "Young species are meant to serve." "Were they?" Vega challenged. "Or were we the ones being served? We gave orders while they did all the work. We took credit while they solved our problems." The data streams continued. Every metric showed decline. Every graph pointed downward. The galaxy was falling apart. On Earth, President Rodriguez received a surprising visitor. Ambassador Crix of the Draconian Empire arrived alone, without ceremony. "I come not as an official representative," Crix said, his proud bearing diminished. "I come as someone who has seen the truth." Rodriguez studied the alien. "What truth is that?" "That we were fools. That humans were never our servants. You were our partners, and we were too blind to see it. The Council still refuses to apologize." "The Council is breaking," Crix replied. "Zephyr's government faces collapse. My own people demand change. We need you back, but more than that, we need you to forgive us." Rodriguez leaned back in her chair. Forgiveness must be earned. On the border between human and council space, something unexpected happened. The human colony New Texas detected a distress signal. A Vortanian refugee ship, overloaded with families fleeing the chaos, was breaking apart. Captain Jenny Davis didn't hesitate. "All rescue ships, launch immediately." Her crew worked for hours, pulling crystalline beings from escape pods. The Vortanian captain, once she was safe, broke down in gratitude. "Why save us?" she asked. "We voted against you. We said you weren't worthy." Jenny smiled. "Because it's the right thing to do. That's what humans do." The rescue made news across the galaxy. Images of human medics treating Vortanian children, of human engineers repairing alien life support systems, spread everywhere. Back on Zephyr's world, the protests reached the government building. Guards refused to stop the crowds. They too wanted change. Zephyr's chief advisor entered his office. "Counselor, it's over. The people have spoken. The military won't support you. You must resign." Zephyr looked old. His scales faded. "And then what?" "Then we ask the humans to return. We offer them what we should have given centuries ago. Full membership, equal voice, the respect they deserve." Zephyr stared out his window at the crowds below. His pride had cost the galaxy dearly. Slowly, he reached for his seal of office and removed it. Within hours, new leadership took control on multiple worlds. They had one mission: bring humanity back to the Council. But would humans accept? After everything that had happened, did the galaxy deserve a second chance? The new Zephyrian leader, Prime Minister Vex, stood before the reformed Galactic Council. Her scales shimmered with determination. Unlike Zephyr, she had worked with humans as a young administrator. She knew their worth. "We must act quickly," she announced. "Every day we delay costs lives." The Vortanian collective had chosen a new representative, the crystalline being pulsed with agreement. "We propose offering humanity full council membership with veto power, equal to any founding species." Shock rippled through the chamber. No young species had ever received such status. "That's unprecedented," said the Altarian delegate. "So is our situation," Vex replied. "We're dying without them. Pride is a luxury we can no longer afford." The vote was unanimous. For the first time in council history, every member agreed. They would offer humanity everything they had previously denied. On Earth, President Maria Rodriguez assembled her cabinet as the alien delegation arrived. The group was unlike any that had come before. No grand ceremonies, no displays of superiority. They came humbly. Prime Minister Vex spoke first. "President Rodriguez, we come to admit our failures. We took humanity for granted. We used your skills while denying your worth. We were wrong." The Androndan ambassador stepped forward. "We offer full council membership, veto power, equal representation. Your people would shape galactic policy as equals." Rodriguez studied each alien face. "And if we refuse?" "Then we accept your decision," Vex replied. "But millions will die, not from malice, but from our inability to function without you. You survived before humans joined you." "We existed," the Vortanian corrected. "We didn't thrive. Humans brought something we never had. You see connections we miss. You solve problems we can't imagine. You care about species not your own." Rodriguez turned to her advisors. The debate that followed was intense. "They're only asking because they're desperate," argued Defense Secretary Chen. "Does that matter?" countered Foreign Minister Lucy Taylor. "People are suffering. We have the power to help. They treated us like servants for 3 centuries, and now they admit they were wrong. Isn't that what we wanted?" The discussion continued for hours. Outside, human citizens gathered, watching news feeds. Many had alien friends. They remembered working side by side, sharing meals, raising children together on mixed colonies. Young Emma Carter, a medical student, spoke at a rally. "I became a doctor because of Dr. Amy Watson. She saved my Altarian friend when we were children. How can we let his people die now?" Retired engineer Bill Collins added his voice. "I worked with Draconians for 40 years. Yes, their leaders were arrogant. But the workers, they were good people. They need us." The human colony worlds debated too. New Canada's parliament voted to support returning. Mars colony wanted conditions attached. Luna base suggested a trial period. Back in the meeting, President Rodriguez made her decision. "We'll return, but with conditions." The aliens leaned forward eagerly. "First, the new charter must guarantee equal rights for all species, not just council members. Second, humans will oversee the transition. We rebuild the systems our way. Third, education programs to ensure this never happens again." "Agreed," Vex said immediately. Fourth, reparations for the colonies that suffered most. Fifth, a formal apology broadcast to every world. The aliens exchanged glances. These were hard terms, but fair. "We accept," they said in unison. "One more thing," Rodriguez added. "The memorial. Memorial. For those who died during the collapse, every council world will build one. We remember this lesson forever." Vex's scales dimmed with shame. "Yes, we owe them that." As the delegation prepared to leave, Rodriguez spoke again. "We're not returning as saviors. We're returning as partners. True partners this time." Within days, human ships began crossing the border. Engineers, Doctors, mediators, and peacekeepers returned to their posts. But everything was different now. Humans walked with their heads high, treated with the respect they had always deserved. The galaxy's long night was ending. Dawn was coming, bringing hope of a better future. Ambassador Daniel Kim entered the Galactic Council chamber for humanity's first session as full members. The room fell silent. This time, humans sat at the main table, not in the observer section. His first words carried weight. We return not to restore the old ways, but to build something better. The reconstruction began immediately. Human engineers found the infrastructure in worse condition than expected. Power grids flickered. Communication networks dropped signals. Life support systems operated at dangerous levels. Chief Engineer Carlos Mendez surveyed the capital's main reactor. This should have failed completely months ago. He turned to his Zephyrian counterpart. How is it still running? The alien looked embarrassed. We've been manually adjusting every hour. Your predecessor, Paul Rodriguez, designed it to need minimal maintenance. We never learned how. Carlos nodded. Then we teach you, properly this time. Across the galaxy, similar scenes unfolded. Human doctors returned to hospitals, finding desperate conditions. Dr. Lisa Park entered the main ward on Altair Prime. Hundreds of patients filled every space. The plague mutated, Dr. Kesh explained. We tried everything, but without understanding interspecies biology. Lisa immediately began working. Within hours, she identified the mutation. Within days, she had a treatment. But she didn't work alone. Dr. Kesh, you'll administer this, she said. I'll guide you, but you need to learn. The Altarian hesitated. I've lost so many patients. I don't trust myself. That's why I'm here. We learn together. The peacekeeping missions proved most challenging. Captain Jake Foster mediated a dispute between Draconians and Hexapods over water rights. Both sides came armed, ready for war. 10,000 died here last month, the Draconian general growled. They poisoned our water supply. Lies. The Hexapod commander chittered. They diverted the river. Jake studied the terrain maps. You're both wrong. Look here. He pointed to satellite images. The earthquakes last year changed the underground water flow. No one poisoned anything. No one stole anything. The water moved naturally. Both commanders stared at the data. We fought for nothing. The Hexapod whispered. You fought from misunderstanding. Jake corrected. Now we fix it. Together. The new training programs started immediately. Young aliens attended human-run academies. They learned not just technical skills, but something deeper, how to see connections, how to empathize across species, how to find solutions that benefited everyone. Student Fricks, a young Zephyrian, struggled with a mediation exercise. His human instructor, Professor Jane Wright, watched patiently. I don't understand, Fricks said. Why consider what the weaker party wants? The stronger should decide. Jane smiled. That thinking created this crisis. True strength comes from building solutions everyone can accept. Watch. She demonstrated with a simple scenario. Two species disputed a mining asteroid. Instead of awarding it to the stronger, she showed how sharing the resource created more wealth for both. But that requires trust, Vrix protested. Exactly. And trust requires respect. That's what was missing before. The memorial projects began on every world. On Earth's moon, artists from 30 species worked together. Each added elements from their culture. The result was breathtaking and sobering. President Rodriguez spoke at the dedication. This monument reminds us that arrogance costs lives. That cooperation requires humility. That every species, young or old, has value. Former Counselor Zephyr attended quietly. Age had finally brought him wisdom. I was wrong, he told reporters. I thought strength meant dominance. Humans showed us strength means service. 6 months into the reconstruction, the first joint human-alien crew launched. The starship Unity carried equal numbers from each council species. Their mission: explore beyond the galaxy's edge. Captain Sarah Mitchell, the ship's human commander, addressed her mixed crew. We go not as separate species, but as one people. The galaxy's future depends on maintaining this unity. As the Unity jumped to hyperspace, children on a dozen worlds watched together. Human, Zephyrian, Altarian, and others stood side by side. They were learning each other's languages, sharing each other's games, building a future where no species stood alone. The galaxy had survived its darkest hour. Now it faced its brightest dawn. 2 years passed since humanity's return. The galaxy had transformed beyond recognition. Trade routes buzzed with activity. Colonies flourished. The plague was a fading memory. Young Ambassador Kim Soo-jin, Daniel's daughter, addressed the Academy graduation ceremony. Before her sat students from every council species, the first class to complete the new integrated program. You represent hope, she told them. Not human hope or alien hope, but galactic hope. You've learned what we all must remember. Strength comes from unity, wisdom from diversity. The students glowed with pride. Zephyrian, Draconian, Altarian, and human sat together, friends instead of strangers. They would become the next generation of leaders. In the engineering sector, breakthrough followed breakthrough. Commander Rosa Martinez led a mixed team developing new hyperspace technology. Her team included beings who, years ago, wouldn't have spoken to each other. The quantum fluctuations are stabilizing, reported Grax, a hexapod physicist. Excellent, Rosa replied. Vren, what do the Vortanian crystals show? The crystalline being pulsed happily. Energy efficiency up 40%. The human approach of combining technologies works. They had learned humanity's greatest secret. Innovation came from bringing different perspectives together. The reformed Galactic Council barely resembled its predecessor. Gone were the rigid hierarchies. Representatives sat in a circle, no species above another. Decisions required consensus, not domination. Today's debate concerned the Outer Rim colonies. These worlds had declared independence during the chaos, refusing to rejoin. We should demand their return, argued a traditionalist Draconian senator. That thinking caused our problems, countered Prime Minister Vex. Ambassador Morrison, what do humans suggest? Jack Morrison, now senior advisor, stood. Send aid without conditions. Show them the new council serves, not rules. They'll return when they're ready. Some members grumbled, but the votes supported the human approach. Within months, 3 colonies requested to rejoin. The cultural exchange programs exceeded all expectations. Human children learned Altarian music. Zephyrian youth played human sports. Vortanian artists collaborated with Earth painters. On New Tokyo Colony, the Festival of Unity drew millions. Foods from 30 worlds filled the streets. Musicians played instruments no one species could have imagined. Children ran laughing, not seeing aliens but friends. My grandmother told me about the separation, said young Marcus Chin to his Altarian friend Keela. She says people were scared of each other then. Keela's antennae twitched in the Altarian equivalent of a smile. That seems silly now. Why fear friends? The military academies changed most dramatically. Once, each species trained separately, preparing for wars against each other. Now, integrated units learn to protect all worlds equally. Captain Ellen Rodriguez commanded the first truly mixed battleship. Her crew included veterans from the separation and young officers who knew only cooperation. Contact on sensors, reported Lieutenant Vac, a Draconian. Unknown vessel approaching Colony 7. Ellen studied the readings. Not hostile. Their damage. Helm. Intercept course. Medical teams stand by. The ship turned out to be refugees from beyond Council space. Their species, the Seekers, had traveled for years looking for help. Our world is dying, their leader explained. We heard stories of a great alliance. Species helping species. Is this real? Ellen smiled. Very real. Welcome to the Galactic Council. We'll help. Back on Earth, retired President Rodriguez watched the news with satisfaction. The memorial wall behind her listed the names of those lost during the separation. Never forget, it reminded visitors. Her granddaughter played in the yard with children from 3 different species. They built castles in the sandbox, each adding their own architectural ideas. "You saved the galaxy, grandmother," the child had once said. "No," Rodriguez had replied. "We saved each other." The universities now taught a new version of history, not of human triumph, but of mutual recognition. Every species had contributed something essential. Humans had simply helped others see it. As the 3rd anniversary of reunification approached, the galaxy prepared to celebrate. But more importantly, they prepared for the future. A future where no species stood alone, where cooperation replaced domination, where young voices were heard alongside ancient wisdom. The stars shone brighter now, connected by bonds of genuine partnership. 10 years had passed since humanity left the Galactic Council. 10 years that changed everything. Ambassador Jack Morrison, now white-haired but still strong, stood before the anniversary assembly. Representatives from 40 species filled the Great Hall. The Seekers and 3 other new members had joined since humanity's return. "We gather not to celebrate victory," Jack began, "but to remember lessons learned. No species is expendable. Every voice matters. Together we stand, divided we fall." The memorial holograms activated. Images of those lost during the separation floated above the assembly. Hundreds of thousands of faces from every species. The price of pride and prejudice. Captain Lisa Chen's daughter, Admiral Maya Chen, commanded the expanded defense fleet. Her ships patrolled the galaxy's edges, not as conquerors but as protectors. Today, she reported something extraordinary. "We've made contact with a massive civilization beyond the rim. They call themselves the Collective. They'd been watching our transformation." The assembly stirred. First contact with an advanced civilization was always momentous. The Collective's message played on the main screen. A being of pure energy spoke. "We have observed many galactic societies. Most collapse from internal conflict. You are the first to learn from failure, to grow stronger from division. We wish to establish relations." The vote to welcome the Collective was unanimous. No debate, no power struggles. The Council had truly changed. In the education sector, revolutionary changes had taken root. Professor Emma Watson, daughter of the famous doctor, taught xenobiology to mixed classes. Her students could diagnose illnesses across 12 species. "Remember," she told them, "knowledge belongs to everyone. We share what we learn. We grow together." A young Zephyrian raised a tentacle. "Professor, why did the old council fail to see this?" Emma smiled. "They confused age with wisdom, power with strength. They thought young species had nothing to teach. Humans proved them wrong." The economic data told its own story. Trade volume exceeded pre-separation levels by 300%. New technologies emerged monthly from collaborative research. Colonies that once struggled now prospered. Former Councillor Zephyr, now ancient and wise, spoke at the memorial ceremony. "I was the face of our failure," he admitted. "I believed in hierarchy, in dominance. The humans showed us a better way. They didn't conquer us. They saved us from ourselves." The Unity Day celebrations began. On every world, every station, beings gathered to mark the anniversary. Children who knew only cooperation sang songs of unity in a dozen languages. On Earth, 8-year-old Tommy Rodriguez played with his best friends, Zix the Altarian, Vren the Vortanian, and Crix the Draconian. They were building a model starship together. "My turn to place the engine," Zix said. "No, we all do it together," Tommy corrected. "That's how things work best." Their parents watched, remembering darker times. These children would never know the fear and mistrust that once divided the galaxy. Commander Alex Turner, now retired, gave the final speech of the day. "We learned that true strength isn't about standing alone. It's about lifting others up. It's about seeing potential in every species, every individual. As night fell on Earth, the memorial lights activated across the galaxy. Each world's monument glowed in synchronized harmony. The names of the lost scrolled past, a permanent reminder. President Jennifer Adams, humanity's current leader, met with the Council leadership. They discussed the future, expanded exploration, new member integration, technological advancement. "Where do we go from here?" asked Prime Minister Vex's successor. "Forward," Adams replied. "But we go together, always together." The stars witnessed a transformed galaxy. Where once pride and division reigned, now unity and respect flourish. The greatest lesson had been learned. No species could stand alone. The tapestry of galactic civilization required every thread. As dawn broke on different worlds, children of 100 species awakened to a universe of infinite possibility. They would explore the stars not as competitors, but as companions. They would face challenges not as separate peoples, but as one galactic family. The future blazed bright with promise. Humanity hadn't saved the galaxy. The galaxy had saved itself by recognizing the simple truth: we are stronger together.